Today's headlines. The Health Ministry says Congo deaths signal new Ebola outbreak. The United Nations is looking for a positive contribution by the Syrian government in Geneva talks. Yemenists hold anti-U.S. demonstration. Mexico warns U.S. of alternatives on trade and points to China. White House won't comment on recording devices in the Oval Office. Plus, Filipina golfer Dottie Ardina trains for first LPGA tournament. And INC Worldwide Evangelical Mission reconnects communities across the U.S. Hello, everyone. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Rose Papa Angeles. Democratic Republic of Congo's Minister of Health said on Friday 2 people had died of a hemorrhagic fever that had tested positive for the Ebola virus in the northern Bayueli province out of 9 confirmed cases. The World Health Organization confirmed later that a 3rd person had died and added the deaths signaled the start of a new outbreak happening in a very remote and forested area. DCR Minister of Health Oli Ilunga said at a news conference in Kinshasa the case had been confirmed from tests on 9 people who came down with a hemorrhagic fever in Bayueli province in the northeast of the country on or after April 22nd.
La République démocratique du Congo.
The Democratic Republic of Congo is facing the epidemic of the Ebola virus, which is a public health emergency of international proportion. From the 22nd of April 2017 until today, 9 cases of hemorrhagic fever, including 2 deaths, have been notified in the health zone of Likati, in the Aketi territory, in the province of the Bah-Yule, in the northeast of the country. You have all the information that we have. So in fact, we decided that the enrollment continues in the province of Bah-Yule. There is no reason to stop the enrollment process. So the information coming to us is reassuring, and therefore the enrollment goes on. And on our side, the health teams, we continue our work and to deploy in the field.
This latest Ebola outbreak is Congo's 8th, the most of any country. The deadly hemorrhagic fever was first detected in its dense tropical forest in 1976 and named after the nearby river Ebola. UN Deputy Special Envoy for Syria, Ramzi Ezzaldin Ramzi, said on Saturday the United Nations is looking for a positive contribution by the Syrian government in the upcoming Geneva talks. Jennifer Polintan reports.
Ramzi Ezzaldin Ramzi arrived in Damascus on Saturday and met Syrian Deputy Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad to discuss preparations for the upcoming talks. Ramzi said there would not be direct talks between the Syrian government and the opposition, and the meeting will be brief and focused.
The position of the United Nations is to move towards direct talks as soon as possible, but I think that this has not been reached yet. Geneva talks are important because it reflects the international legitimacy represented by the UN resolutions, and they talk about main principles. I think Syrians, no matter what their political position, are committed and ensure the necessity of respecting these principles that are the unity of Syria's territories, respecting Syrian sovereignty and the nature of future Syria. All these are important subjects, and I think there is a movement to accept many things, and we will see in the coming days.
UN envoy to Syria, Staffan de Mistura, said a new round of proximity talks with Syrian government negotiators and with the opposition will take place in Geneva from May 16th to the 19th to take advantage of promising developments after the deal agreed in Astana this month. De Mistura said one of the agreements in the Astana Memorandum is an exchange of released detainees from both sides, a point that has nearly been finalized. Reporting for Eagle News, I am Jennifer Polentan, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thousands of Yemenis rallied on Friday condemning what they say is U.S. support for Saudi aggression on Yemen. Jeffrey Nolasco reports.
The two-year war has brought large-scale devastation to the country and its people, claiming more than 10,000 lives and is pushing the country to the brink of famine. The current siege on the Yemeni people and the continuous killing is what proves that the U.S. is the one that sponsors terrorism. She is the mother of terrorism. That's why our rally today is under the label of No to the U.S. Terrorism on Yemen. Yemen's conflict pits the Iran-allied Houthi movement and elements of the military against the Saudi-led military coalition backing the internationally recognized government. The high civilian toll and the conflict has drawn scrutiny of continued U.S. and British military support for Saudi Arabia. Our coming out today is a message against U.S. terrorism and telling Trump that you will not make us kneel and that we will resist despite Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia. The United States has provided aerial refueling of coalition jets, while the British defense industry has been an important supplier of aircraft and arms to the kingdom. Reporting for Eagle News, I am Jeffrey Nolasco and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Mexico warns U.S. of alternatives on trade and points to China. White House won't comment on recording devices in the Oval Office. Plus, Filipino golfer Dottie Ardina trains for the first LPGA tournament. And INC Worldwide Evangelical Mission reconnects communities across the U.S. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
When you can't do it all, do what you can. Caring for others. Pass it on.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Mexico sent a message to U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday saying an upcoming visit to China in September made it clear Latin America's #2 economy has lots of other alternatives amid tense trade negotiations. Ace Ramirez reports.
Mexico is grappling with Trump's desire to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, that underpins its economy, prompting the government to try and diversify away from the United States, which takes 80% of its exports. Mexico has tried to deepen commercial links with China for years, and President Enrique Peña Nieto had hoped a Chinese high-speed train contract would presage more investment. However, the train deal was scrapped in 2014 after Peña Nieto and his then finance minister became embroiled in a conflict of interest scandal. The incident soured relations, but the election of Trump, who has voiced opposition to free global trade, has brought them closer again. Mexico runs a sizable trade deficit with China, and the government could face resistance from Mexican manufacturers to opening up to China, as the two often compete directly. A senior Mexican diplomat in Beijing said Mexico was not sending any top-level representatives to China's One Belt, One Road meeting in Beijing this weekend. However, he added bilateral meetings between senior Mexican officials and their Chinese counterparts were planned throughout the year, saying China's Deputy Minister of Land and Resources was currently in Mexico. He said it was likely Guajardo would meet with his counterpart in Hanoi as part of an Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, trade ministers meeting on May 20 to the 21st. Mexico was also looking to send senior officials to a World Economic Forum gathering in Dalian in late June. Guajardo did not give details of what trip to China in September he was referring to, but the diplomat said it was to the CIFIT summit in Yemen. Guajardo was speaking after Trump indicated he wanted to get the U.S. trade deficit with Mexico down to zero.
Xi Jinping y el presidente Peña se han reunido en más de 4 ocasiones.
Xi Jinping and President Peña have met on more than 4 occasions to boost the relationship and will be going to China in September to be able to continue with this agenda. And yes, we will use geopolitically as strategic leverage. There is not the slightest doubt there that it's not in any context and it's not credible, our country being where it is, but it sends the signal that we have many alternatives that we can exploit in the world.
Guajardo said, however, the deficit is not a good way of measuring the strength of a trading relationship. Reporting for Eagle News, I'm Ace Ramirez, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Ace. The White House on Friday declined to comment further about whether or not recording devices may exist in the presidential residence after President Donald Trump tweeted that outsaid FBI Director James Comey better hope that there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press. White House spokesman Sean Spicer also told a news briefing that Trump did not demand Comey's loyalty when the two had dinner in January, disputing media reports. Spicer said the Department of Justice has started creating a list of candidates to replace Comey.
On the timing, I think as soon as he finds a candidate that fits the qualities that he feels are necessary to lead the FBI, that's the timeline on that. I know that the Department of Justice has begun to create that list, and I believe they're going to, if they haven't already, are going to be starting the process of interviewing people either today or through the weekend. But I mean, the president obviously wants to make sure that we've got the right person, and that process is being headed by the Department of Justice.
Asked whether the accounts were true, Spicer told reporters, no. EBC's Jay Roskidas introduces us to Filipino golfer Dottie Ardina as she trains for her first LPGA tournament. Take a look.
After winning numerous amateur tournaments and after missing the 2016 Summer Olympics, professional golfer Dottie Ardina is on track to compete and accomplish one of her primary goals in life, and that is to win her very first LPGA tournament championship.
I usually do 2 hour in the range, 2 hours putting, 2 hour short game. Then sometimes I play 9 holes, 18 holes. So I'm basically in the golf course the whole day. And do some drills, swing drills, and I'll get a lesson twice a week. My parents is my inspiration because they, I think they sacrifice a lot for me to do this. If I win, that would be a really good payoff for the three of us, and not only me, also for the people who supported me. Since I started playing golf, I can influence other young golfers to play golf, because golf is fun. It's just sometimes it can be frustrating, but golf is always fun.
So with 2 weeks away from the LPGA Tour, Dottie will begin her quest to become the second Filipino women's champion in LPGA Tour history. I'm Jay Roskidas with the EBC Florida Bureau, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Jay, and good luck to you, Ms. Dottie Ardina. Coming up, INC Worldwide Evangelical Mission reconnects communities across the U.S.
Kasal ka na pag nakakahinga ka ba? ipalalaro ang karahasan sa mga nanonood na kabataan.
Sige! Kwarta! O buhay niya!
Kaya kaagapay ninyo ang MTRCB rating bilang gabay.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. EBC's coverage of INC Worldwide Evangelical Mission continues. Alan Basilyahe of EBC Los Angeles gets to know guests of the INC's North Hollywood congregation. Take a look.
Good day. I am here with Blanca, Eddie, Evelyn Ramirez at the Worldwide Evangelical Mission of the Church of Christ. So just like what we introduced, this was a worldwide evangelical mission. What's your feeling about the size and scale of such a massive event?
It's important to, my mom says it's important to everybody around the world to know what the Lord was meant for us to hear. And it's important that everybody knows. And I think it's great.
El sacrificio que Dios hizo por nosotros, por cada uno de nosotros.
Yeah. Oh, she said it's good for everybody to know the sacrifice that Christ made for us.
So that was also part of the sermon that was preached today. Was there anything specific you got out of the sermon?
Estamos viendo el trabajo que están haciendo los misioneros de la Iglesia de Cristo en todo el mundo y pienso que no todas las personas estamos preparados para hacer este sacrificio. Deberíamos de estar preparados para predicar la palabra de Dios en todas las naciones y todo el mundo.
Blanca, did you get that? What?
Yes, she said that what she got from it is that it's an amazing, it's for an amazing cause, because not only will it be broadcasted all over the world, there's more audience and more people that will be hearing the truth and the word of God.
Great. Well, I just have one more question. If they have events like this or other type of activities, do you plan on coming again?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be blessed to see what they have in store for us to learn.
So there is reporting here from North Hollywood, California. I'm Alan Basilyahe, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Alan. Let's head over to Hawaii's, where EBC's Alfred Asinas shares with us guest reaction in Waipahu. Alfred?
Just the other day, this compound was brimming with people, teeming with activity, as this location, as well as other places of worship around the world, banded together in their latest worldwide evangelical mission. Officials and members here made sure that they would wrap up this worldwide event with resounding success. By distributing and sharing the latest special issue of the Church's magazine, members and officials alike throughout the islands invited friends, loved ones, co-workers, fellow students, and even everyday people along the streets. Whether outdoors in the plantations, indoors in healthcare facilities, or anywhere else in between. Even youth members took the time to invite teachers, caretakers, and other grown-ups. Other congregations like the one at Diamond Head hosted an invitational bowling tournament for both members and prospective guests. Finally, congregations all over Hawaii conducted the special missionary gathering hosted by Executive Minister Brother Eduardo V. Manalo through video link. This religious event was intended to introduce people in all walks of life on the words of God written in the Bible. Afterwards, there was some fellowship to socialize. Visitors like Lennon and Landon accepted the invitation from their friend and church member Gerald, who continued to encourage them to know more about the Church of Christ.
One of these days he came by, and this is like their third visit.
I thought it was pretty good. Learned a lot of new things and perspectives. I thought the event went well. Went pretty smooth. It's nice to see different perspectives of the Word of God and everything. So I thought it went well.
Another visitor, Irvin Hendricks, had been invited before, but this is his first time to actually attend a Church of Christ event. Here, he described his impression about the brotherhood among the members. Church member and co-worker Froyland served as his sponsor.
Everybody is nice.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody's
yeah.
nice.
And real welcoming.
Very welcoming.
Yeah.
During a live interview with the church's radio station in the Philippines, Brother Raimundo Antonio Jr., a minister of the gospel, reported on the success in closing out this global event. He described the gratitude by the visitors who attended, and he took the opportunity to convey thanks to the church administration.
Magandang hapon po. They are also thankful that they were invited, they have received the message, and there are those who have promised po to come back and will continue to listen to the words of our Lord God.
With more than 6,000 congregations and missions, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, can now be located in more than 130 countries and territories, to include Hawaii, where the first congregation was established on July 27, 1968. Reporting from Waipahu, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Asenes for Eagle News. I'm one with 25.
Mahalo, Alfred. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us again next time as we bring news that matters to you. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Eaglenews.PH. Once again, I am Rose Papa Angeles, and I am one with 25.